these kids, everybody's like, oh, I learned more from the Ellen Rudney video
I
than
didn't watch it.
I did from club.
Yeah.
So it's been good so far, and I really enjoy it. I'd rather do this.
This is fun.
I'd rather do this than like train. I really enjoy when like Carissa and Marissa are here, and then I'm just chilling in the middle, and I can put my 2 cents in, interact with every kid, and get to hang out with Marissa and Carissa.
Yeah, that's nice. And that's how you build your brand too.
I'm trying to.
Keep getting more people to step in with you.
Are you doing anything with Flash in the fall?
I'm going to be Matt's assistant.
Okay.
But like just for one team, because I'm going to be so busy in the fall. I start my new job on campus in July.
What's your job?
Like assistant advisor for student athletes. So
kind of like what Jamie was doing
academic
at
advising.
Drexel.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, but I'll be the assistant advisor, and then I'm still doing my master's, so I'll be in 3 classes.
Okay.
And then that's 3 days a week, plus the job, which is like full time, and then Flash. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll be busy.
And then you're going to be doing Matt's stuff all summer, right? Helping him with that.
That starts June 26th to August 4th.
Nice.
So it's just 6 weeks. Monday, Wednesday, Friday would be good.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then Tuesday, Thursday, up until August, I'll be on campus, just like easing into the new position, like helping with the summer bridge program and stuff, because a lot of the athletes come during the summer. So
in Iceland, how hard was it to do like your school?
Oh God, it was horrible.
Really?
Yeah, like I had to. So everybody else was still in person, like classes, and I left in April, so there was still a month of school left, and so luckily they were okay with me zooming into class for the last 4 weeks, and like I guess in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that big of a deal because I was still able to participate and whatnot, but I was on Zoom until midnight Iceland time.
Oh,
because they're night classes.
What's the time difference there?
It was 4 hours.
Okay.
So like I was like grad classes start later in the day to begin with, and so then plus 4 hours, and the out classes are 3 hours long. So I was on Zoom until midnight. So it was kind of hard, but it was whatever. Got through it.
How was the overall experience in Iceland? I mean, I'll start it. Like with Carissa, it was good. It was obviously a great experience.
Yeah.
Just not life changing, but just like something you had to do.
Yeah. I think the overall general experience on the life experience side, it was absolutely phenomenal. Like you said, it's something I had to do, and like something that I'm so proud that I did and was able to do.
Yeah.
Because as a student athlete in college, like you're not able to study abroad. And that was always something that I envied of other students. So going overseas because of soccer after being a student athlete was like such a rewarding experience for me, because I was never really able to do anything like that in undergrad, like a lot of other students do. So that was a really great part of it, like just having to adapt to a brand new environment and kind of just making my home like by myself. So it was challenging, but also very rewarding, and I'm like super glad that I did it. Soccer side is a little bit, I don't know if I want to say it's not what I expected, but it wasn't what I expected, I guess. Like, I don't know, my team was very young, and the league in Iceland is very good.
Were you in the top league in the Pepsi League or whatever they call it?
Pepsi Max, yeah.
And so they don't have college soccer there.
No.
So all these 17, 18, 19-year-olds are playing pro?
I had a 15-year-old starter on my team.
You had a 15-year-old starter on your team?
And she was amazing. It's so good. But like technically and like game-wise, she was phenomenal. But like soccer IQ-wise, how to manage the game, how to kill the game if we're up, that was like a little bit different with the younger players.
So with experience.
Yeah. Because we played
think about the experience she's getting at 15 and what she's going to look like when she's 22.
Exactly, especially playing at this level. And like the top teams in the league, they had players of that age like on their roster, like 16, 15 to 18, I would say. Like they had players, but like the amount of minutes that they got in a game were not as much as the young players on my team, just because that is what my team consisted of. I was one of the older players.
Was every team like that? Like,
What do you mean?
Was the top team had those young players? Like, who
Yeah,
were you
but, like,
playing against?
Yeah, like, but their starting lineup were my age or older, you know. So if they were up
And that's
by
why you guys just struggled, just because of the experience. It wasn't
Yeah.
necessarily the players; it's just the experience.
Yeah, and like we had a good amount of people my age and older. Well, when I say good amount, I mean like 8, but you can't count on 8 people to manage a game, you know,
No.
especially for 90 minutes.
No. How are the facilities? How was the treatment? How was the staff? Like, how many were on your staff? Stuff like that.
So there were a couple of changes actually, because how I got this opportunity was through this guy named Chris, who ended up being my coach. But he was the assistant coach when I first got the opportunity, and he's how I got the contract in January. Then in January, he ended up going to Norway, I believe. Yeah, Norway.
That's right.
To work with a men's club. And so when I got there in April, same head coach that I was communicating with over the winter, and then different assistant coach that I had not met until I got there. And then we didn't get off to a really great start in the beginning of the season. There were some issues with like my work visa and then another international's work visa, and we were kind of seen as the more key players in the central midfield. So my coach was upset a little bit with the administration of the club, with like not making it a priority and whatnot. So I guess it's pretty common in other countries in the leagues like this for coaches to resign after the season had started. So he resigned, but it ended up working out because then he planned to have Chris come back, because Chris was finishing up in Norway and was looking to come back to Iceland. So then Chris came back when my other first head coach had left. So then I ended up having Chris as my coach, which I was happy about because he is just a phenomenal coach. He really, truly cared about the team and the players and our success. So you could see like his investment into the club, like made everybody else want to work harder. So that was good.
And Chris was Matt's former teammate, right?
Yeah, so Chris and Matt played together way back in the day in Canada.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's how I got the connection.
So you didn't go back, obviously.
No.
At that level, do you think that like you're done? Are you done? Or would you try again? Or would you try to go to a different team or a different country?
Well, here's the thing. Like I've definitely thought about it, but it's such a hard lifestyle to maintain, in my opinion. And if that's the lifestyle that you want and that you think you can thrive in, great. But like for me personally, being away 6 months out of the year and then coming home 6 months out of the year, like I just didn't really like that balance and that dynamic in my life, especially because like my whole family and like all of my world is here in Buffalo, and I just wasn't ready to like pick up and leave for 6 months again. Like it was too long for me to be gone from here.
No.
And a lot of people like thrive in that lifestyle, and I know a lot of people like will play 6 months or play like one season that goes in the summer and then go right to another country where the season goes in the winter. So it's kind of like a nonstop year-round thing, 2 different clubs, and just kind of keep rotating back and forth like that. And yeah, that's an awesome experience because you get to live and adapt it to new environments more than like you could have ever imagined probably. But again, that just like wasn't something that I wanted to do. I loved doing it, but it's not like a long-term thing for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know a lot of the NWSL players, like Abby Dahlkemper was with the Western New York Flash, and then she'd go to Australia.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people do.
And then they'd come back to the NWSL, and they just go back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah, because the Australia A-League is in our winter. It's their summer.
Correct.
Yeah.
Same with basically every league over there, right? Isn't it mostly winter? Well, at least in Europe.
I feel like it's about half and half, I would say.
Okay.
Like the league in Australia is the A League in Australia is in our winter, and then their B League is in our summer. So that's like that.
Is Emily in the A League or the second tier?
She's in the second league, so she's playing right now.
Iceland has promotion and relegation?
Yeah, there's 3 leagues.
There's 3 leagues. You
Yeah.
guys were in the top league. Did
Yeah.
you guys get relegated?
Yeah.
How many teams get relegated?
2.
2,
And then 2
two
get
up,
promoted.
2 up, 2 down.
So it's actually us and then the other team that were promoted 2 seasons ago to the Pepsi Max League this past season that I played. Both also got relegated. So it's the
So
consistent.
they just got there and
Yeah.
then they're right back down.
Yeah.
Like in the EPL, I think this is the first time ever that the 3 that got promoted stayed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think, what was that like going through a relegation battle? Like, was everybody on edge? What's that like?
It was, I would say, more challenging, like mentally, because I came from a successful college program where we didn't lose many games. And then I went to Iceland, and it's like the next level up of soccer. But then I was like losing every game. Not every game, we won a few games. But like, it was just really challenging mentally, because I also think the mentality in college soccer is a little bit different. Like maybe it was because of the personnel on my team, because there was a lot of younger girls that just like lacked in like intensity, I guess, sometimes, where in the moments where you should be like 110%, like, let's go, like, let's finish this game out, we're up, let's finish, like, we need these 3 points. And then we would fall short. So it was like, after the game, it was so defeating to be like, we could have won that game. We could have won this game. We could have won that game, you know? So it was definitely mentally challenging. But at the end of the day, like, I still was able to learn a lot personally about myself. So that's like a selfish way of looking at it, because obviously soccer is a team sport. But in the moment, I was like, this is making me stronger, even though like my team was not winning. I don't know.
So what were your days like? So what time would you wake up if you had training and then you had Zoom classes at UD and at like midnight?
So my training was actually later in the day. So I would wake up. I should have got a job when I was there. I don't know why I didn't. I could have.
Did some of the players have jobs on
Yeah.
the side?
Yes, most of them did. But like me and two other internationals just kind of like didn't, because we wanted to explore and whatnot. So I would just like wake up, do whatever, go to practice in the afternoon, and then I would have to, when I still had class on Zoom, I would have to get right back to my apartment as quickly as I could, because I had class like 20 minutes after practice would end. So I'd have to speed home real quick and get on Zoom.
I remember texting you. You were there, and I think the Euros were going on, the women Euros. And I texted you. I was like, how many of these players have you played with or played against? And it was like all of them.
Yeah. So a lot of the players in the Pepsi Max League, a lot played on one team, but there were a few scattered on a good amount of other teams that were on the national team roster. So that was definitely a cool thing. Like, the competition that I played against was awesome. Like, I never thought I'd be playing against national team players, and then there I was. So that was really cool. And another thing that like made me better. So
you talk about this 15-year-old. Was she part of that team, that club's youth, like from 8 years old? Do they have a youth? Were you around youth?
Yes. So basically how it works is like you go to the club that's closest to you. And there's a club.
You stay.
Yeah. And there's a club within 15 minutes of each other in the like capital area at least. And then each town will have their own club as well, if their town is like farther out. But typically that's how it works. Like, you go to the club that's closest to you and you develop within their youth. And then when your time comes to be on the professional team, then you do that. However, it is pretty common for people to like switch clubs because they are so close. Like, my club was close to like right in the city center, but then 10 minutes away, we had 2 other like powerhouse clubs. So those were the top 2 teams in the area. And then 15 minutes away was team number 3. So all in the top league.
So it's just such a condensed, it's better to be a condensed soccer community that has a lot of quality versus something that's like spread out like ours. And, you know, the
and then,
2 top clubs are an hour apart.
Yeah.
When they're 30 minutes apart or 15 minutes
Exactly.
apart, it's a better soccer just hotbed.
It's just a lot more competitive within the clubs, I think. And yeah, it is very common for people to switch, especially at the professional level. Like, I know a lot of girls that I played with last summer, like my team ended up being relegated. So a lot of the players like went to a club where the teams were still in the top league. So they could still be in the top league. And that's super common.
Did you go to any youth training? I mean, it's not like they're reinventing the wheel. It's not like they're doing anything that we're not doing over here, or Flash isn't doing, or anything. It's just, I don't know. It's easier. It's almost easier in a smaller country like that to be dominant because you're aware of every single player.
Yeah.
Whereas here, there's some very good players that haven't gotten a sniff of a youth national team roster.
Yeah.
They haven't gotten a sniff. I mean, finally, Michaela is getting, she's going to Germany in a couple weeks with so. But there's players before her that are right on the same level as Michaela, and they just been overlooked because the competition in the whole country is like you could make a U.S. youth national team out of California, or Texas,
and they could compete.
Yeah.
Well, I also think the thing is like the accessibility. Like, yes, Iceland's a very small country, and like my club was in walking distance to pretty much all of the youth players that played. Like, the towns aren't like Clarence here.
You're not driving 45 minutes to training.
Like, it's super condensed, like it's almost city-like, but it's considered a town. Like, the houses aren't far apart like they are in a lot of the towns here. So it's very easy to get to your club's house, like where your club's training grounds are and whatnot. And like I said, like you just go to the one closest to you, and that just makes it even easier. But also the fact that like soccer was their main sport. It's like soccer and basketball. So like pick one.
I was just going to ask. Just going to ask that. So it's the number one sport, especially on girls' side.
Yeah. Well, I would say both.
Men's side too.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you either played soccer or you played basketball. Maybe you played handball. That was the thing too. But like soccer was definitely one of the main attractions there. And then that also made it easier for more kids to be involved because that's just like what you do,
What was the training like? What was it like compared to, UB? How was the training regimen? Like, did you guys even lift? Did you guys do anything like that?
We had team lifts, but it wasn't like, I guess, as consistent as it was at UB, just because our season's a lot longer. And like, for example, in college, like we had heavy lift in the spring, and then summer you do your own thing. Come into preseason, and then everything is more like functional, like lighter stuff because you have 2 games a week. And then in Iceland, our season was a lot longer, so sometimes we wouldn't have a game that week. So then we would have maybe like 2 team lifts along with practice every day. So it just kind of depended on what our game schedule was like. And then we had like that month off because of the Women's Euros tournament. So that was kind of like our preseason month, I always put it. So it's a lot of like fitness, hard training, and then we would consistently lift during that month as a team. But other than that, like I would pretty much lift in like more of a small group each time.
Like on your own, or were you coached?
Like my coach would give us stuff to do, but it wasn't like a requirement. Like, hey, if you wanted to do this week, get it done. But I would typically go like either myself or the other American that ended up coming halfway through. Her and I would go together, and then 2 Australians that also didn't have jobs. We had more time, so.
Where are you training right now? Like, where are you training out of?
What do you mean?
Where are you training at?
Right now?
Yeah.
Here. What do you mean?
No, I mean like, where are you training out of, fitness-wise? Because you were with Ron.
Yeah. I probably should be doing more fitness.
But you're not.
But I'm not. It's like, it's just crazy. Like, I was so busy during the semester I was working like 3 jobs. Plus I was still in 1 class, which isn't a lot, but like, it's still a lot of work in grad classes, even just for one, like reading and long essays and whatnot. So I was like so caught up in all of that I wasn't like working on fitness and whatnot. But I was playing co-ed, so I was keeping it up. But other than that, like, no, I wish I still had somebody like Ron in the area. I just haven't been really going to anybody like that.
What happened on Saturday? FC Buffalo. What was that? What was that team like?
I think they, being a newer club, well, they were supposed to like absorb the Lancers, I guess, but then a lot of the players from the Lancers last year ended up going to the RNYFC team that plays in the WPSL.
Mm-hmm.
So just a different league, same idea. But I guess a lot of the players from the Lancers last year went there rather than sticking with Flower City. So I think people were saying they had like 3 or 4 returners, and it just seemed like a very young team. So and they only had 3 subs for a home game. Yeah. So I don't know, just they might need more time to get it together.
Wow. And then who are you guys playing this week? Steel City or something
Pittsburgh.
like that? And Marissa said that's going to be like a better game.
I think it should be better than this past weekend, yeah, a little bit more competitive. But I'm pretty sure last year FC Buffalo beat them each time, if I remember correctly. I was able to watch the games in Iceland, so I watched them play.
Do you miss UB? Do you miss the grind of college soccer?
I miss the grind, the schedule, and the consistency of college soccer, and I guess like I don't miss UB because I'm still there. I'm still there. I work there. Like I don't miss UB because I'm still in it.
Casey, you see Burke, you see all that.
I work right across the hall from them, so it's like I don't miss that. But when I didn't start my job there, when I came home in the fall of last fall, I was like, wow, I wish I was still on this team. Like, I wish I had another year of college soccer. I wish I was able to play again, you know. But now I think I'm more coming to the terms of moving on from being a college athlete, even though, like, great memories, best time of my life, I will say, but it's just, like, not in my life anymore, so.
How did your recruiting go for UB? How did it go?
They actually recruited me from a tournament in the Disney tournament, which is kind of funny because, like, why did we have to go to Florida for them to watch me play? So that was funny. But then once they had an eye on me and whatnot, they would come to the games and stuff closer to Buffalo, my high school games and whatnot. I went on a visit, and that was that.
Well, was Burke the assistant then?
No, Burke was the head coach. Casey was the assistant, and then we had there was another assistant coach at the time, but Henrik, my coach for BSA at the time, used to coach Casey, so that's how I got that connection there. So it was good.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow. So you don't really miss it?
No, I miss it.
You miss it, you miss it, but you don't.
Yeah. It's still like, I guess I'm going to say it's like hard to miss because soccer, like I still play. It's still part of my life.
Right. But a huge part.
UB soccer is like, I'm just no longer on the team, and that's just, it is what it is. Like, I just grew up, I guess. But again, I'm still very involved with UB athletics, and I plan to be for a good amount of time, so.
When are you starting that job?
I'll start in like first week of July, I think. Like July 2nd is like a Monday.
Wow.
Yeah. But then officially, like I'll be just helping out throughout July and then officially start August.
And when are you going to finish your master's?
Next spring. So I'll graduate with my master's
So is this
May of
job
24.
part of your master's program?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's exactly like Jamie's then?
Yeah. Like she had a GA-ship, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
so
GA.
Mine's not technically a GA-ship. It's just like a role. It's a student assistant role. So I'll be an assistant advisor, but it's a role specifically for graduate students. But there's just a lot of things that go into it being specifically a GA-ship or just a student assistantship. So it's like kind of different. I don't have to get into that. But it's paid, so it's fine.
This was like on a whim because you forgot that I asked you to do this.
I literally
But it's
thought I was
okay.
coming here to train. I don't know why I forgot.
We're gonna train now, right now. We just did like,
How long was that?
according to that, it's only 26 minutes. Short.
Ask me more questions if you want.
But it's short because we know that I know that I'm like training. If we were just like
I'm
talking,
not in a rush.
if we were just like
I'm not in a rush.
if we were just like talking, it would be longer.
Yeah.
Also, the first like 10, 15 minutes, my camera wasn't on. So it's
What?
just gonna be a camera on you.
Oh my
like the whole
god,
time.
that's
It's
embarrassing.
Oh, it's amateur hour. It's okay.
my
I don't
God.
care.
When are you gonna post this?
This is gonna get tens and tens of views.
When are you gonna post it?
It usually takes me like a week. So I did Kyle Pollard from Canisius on Thursday, and I'm gonna post it. Like, I send it out to the younger players because there's some kids that just like have anxiety about it, and they're like, "Well, I don't want my teammates to like be mad at me." And like, I had one player to make me take a video down.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's actually funny you say that, because if you are sending this to your younger players and whatnot, based on my experience, I grew up in this area and whatnot, like, and here I'm in this position now, like, I don't care what other people think. I literally do not care. It's your life, like, do what you want, do what's best for you. Like, I had to, when I was younger, I had to switch clubs, and I had, like, such good friends on my one team, but I just knew that I couldn't really become a better soccer player there. So I was like to my parents, I'm sad to be leaving my friends. I don't know anybody on this new team really, but it's going to make me a better soccer player. So that's what I'm going to do. And you just have to keep that mindset with everything you do, even if it's not involving any kind of sports. Like, just do what's best for you and don't care about what other people think, because people are going to talk either way. So
exactly, there's going to be a lot of people that love you, and there's going to be a lot of people that do not like
whatever
you at
you
all.
do.
And I don't like. That's why I'm doing this,
Yeah.
because I like talking to my players. I like to have like a relationship with my players where I can sit down. How many coaches can sit down for an hour-long conversation with their players? It doesn't happen.
Not
You
many.
and Matt, I know you can do that. You
Yeah.
and Casey probably.
And it takes a while to develop that relationship, especially when there's not an environment like this one where you're kind of looking to do that and whatnot. But yeah, like, I used to go into my coach's office my freshman year, and I would be like scared to talk to them. And now I look back at that and like my attitude then and like laugh. Like, why was I ever scared? Because I had never had a relationship like that with a coach before, you know? So it was
an open door
different.
policy, or somebody that you could go to. You just saw them 2 or 3 times a week in a game on Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, and like, I was constantly just like, maybe I just thought this in my head, like, I'm only being judged by them, not like I don't have a relationship with them. So it was like a shock to me, but now I laugh at that because like, this is how it should be.
I just talked to Charisma about that too, and maybe Marissa. Like, when you reach that point of life where you're, I don't care what people think, your life instantly improves.
So much better.
Your mental health improves, and you just don't care what people think, because everybody has their own opinion, and they could say something to you to your face, and they'll say something completely different to somebody else.
Exactly.
And it's like, you don't necessarily take everybody's word for it.
Yeah, it's like a little life lesson that I wish I learned earlier, but I'm glad I learned it now.
Like, I'll talk about players to other players or something like that, and they're like, "I can't believe you said it," and I'm like, I say it to their face, so I don't care. I say it right to their face, so I don't say anything about anybody that I wouldn't say to their face.
Yeah.
And I think confidence too. Confidence comes from self-awareness, and it comes from knowing what you're very good at and what you're not good at.
Yeah. And that knowing comes from having a good relationship with your coach and having open communication with your coach, because a lot of players, I feel like, will just never know how to judge themselves, and they're not self-aware because they don't know what they're good at. They don't know what they're not good at. They don't know what they should be working on and what they're like, they don't need to be working on as much. So that, because there's no open communication oftentimes. So
and think about like your position change too. Like, you played multiple positions throughout your career at UB. Marissa, kind of the same thing at Ohio State. It's like, in that communication from your coach of why you're being moved, did that go down?
Yeah, because I asked.
Oh, that's right. You asked. Yeah, you talked about that last time you were on.
Yeah.
'Cause
Like you have
you
to,
asked to be
like,
moved.
yeah, there needs to be an open communication, but it can't just be initiated by one. Like a conversation's a two-way street. So you have to, if you're wondering something, ask. If you don't know something, ask.
How much do you want to get into coaching?
I mean,
I know you're helping Matt.
yeah,
And
like I like
sure.
coaching and I like seeing the development of players throughout the year and not even throughout the years, I guess, like even in just one training session, if you make a coaching point and see that it's being implemented by a player, like that's a rewarding experience. But I don't think I will always coach on the side, but I don't think that I will make coaching my full-time thing because I just found my niche in helping collegiate student athletes on the academic side because just based on my experiences, that's what I really needed when I was in their position. So I had great help at UB with the academic advisors and the academic staff there that they just kind of inspired me to do what they do. So that's like what I'm really interested in doing is, yes, being surrounded by athletes and student athletes at a collegiate level, but more so on the academic and administrative side of it.
So they did have this role when you were at UB.
The one that I'm starting?
Yes.
No, not specifically. It's more of a newer position, but academic advising for student athletes. Like I had my own athletic academic advisor aside from my actual academic advisor with my major. Like athletics has its own academic department.
Okay. So is there anybody in the athletic department that helps with mental health of the student athletes? Like
Yeah, so we have
like a sports psychologist or something?
Yep. Yeah, so we have a sports psychologist. When I was an athlete there, her name was Kelly Piper. She's no longer at UB. I'm unsure of who filled that position. But yeah, like if any student athlete was struggling with mental health or they had confidence issues or anything like that, they could go to her and she would set up meetings and kind of talk it through and just give athletes like a toolbox on how to better their mental health and stuff like that. And then we would always have each year we would have a distinguished speaker come in to talk with all the athletes, and it would more so be about mental health and taking care of yourself and whatnot. So that was one thing. And then I know UB women's soccer worked with, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't talk about this because I don't know all the details, but I think she was like kind of a health motivation coach this past semester, and that was specific to the women's soccer team. She wasn't like a UB employee. So
Did
I feel like
Casey or Sean bring them in?
Yeah, I think so. But that would be something that would be super beneficial to the athletic department as a whole, and having someone like that. Like sometimes they would do yoga, they would do mindfulness exercises.
Did they go over nutrition and stuff too?
I don't know if they would go over nutrition, but there is a nutritionist for UB athletics.
Because I talked to Jamie about it a little bit, and then Kyle Pollard from Canisius started talking about it a little bit. Are these college kids eating enough for how much work they're putting in?
So I actually took a good interest in nutrition at the end of my sophomore year? Maybe it was my sophomore year, because I never really watched what I ate or paid attention.
Made sure that you were eating enough?
Yeah, I never paid attention to that growing up, or like my freshman year especially. Like I don't know, I just was never the person to think of food as like, oh, I have to watch
fuel.
Yeah, exactly. But then my sophomore year, I started to take an interest in nutrition, and that's when I do feel like it gave me a boost, like making sure I was eating enough and enough of the right things. And I was learning like what to eat to make myself feel good, what to eat before a game to make sure that I felt good during the game. And then I was learning like what I shouldn't eat anymore. Like I was eating a lot of bacon cheeseburgers before, and now I don't limit that. I just don't eat as much bacon cheeseburgers as I did, especially before a soccer game.
Yeah, like Jamie was talking about, there's a lot of eating disorders. At least what her experience was at Drexel, of anorexia.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you be a Division I athlete and not eat?
Yeah.
Is it stress? Is it
I think it's
mental health?
it's the pressure of being perfect. It could be. And
Did you go through that at all?
I
Maybe
personally,
freshman year, maybe.
I personally didn't. I never really went through any struggles when it came to that, but a lot of people do, and it's a lot more common than you may think. And sometimes it goes unnoticed until it gets to the point where it's dangerous.
I'm starting to worry about my high school kids.
Yeah.
And even my youth players.
I also think social media plays a huge role in it, like the comparison of yourself to others, but that just also goes back to the don't care what other people are doing. Like
Comparison is the thief of joy or whatever.
Yeah. So I actually had a really good friend in the beginning of college, and she was on the women's basketball team, and she was my next door neighbor in the dorms. So her and another basketball player were neighbors with me and my friend on the soccer team, and we became pretty close in freshman in the beginning of college. And she struggled very bad with an eating disorder, and when she realized that it was dangerous, she went home and fixed it. And now she just uses her experiences and her voice to help other athletes. Hannah Hall, if anyone wants to look her up, she made a beautiful video and really just.
So she's public about her story.
Yes, very, very public.
I think
because so many athletes go through it and it goes unnoticed and it's dangerous.
I think these kids and these players need to know that other people go through what they're going through, and to know that they're not alone.
Yeah,
it makes them help. I think it helps them deal with whatever issue they're going through a lot more. This is why I wanted to do these videos, because everybody has a story, but nobody gets a platform to like tell it or try to help others or whatnot.
Yeah. And another thing too, especially with college athletes, is like always you're always competing against your teammates and yourself too. So it's like, there's always a mindset of I have to be better than I was yesterday. And if that means lifting twice on top of practice tomorrow, like that's what I'm going to do.
And that's the kind of pressure that you go.
Yeah. And sometimes it gets into like a toxic mindset where you always feel like you have to be doing something and not taking your rest time for your body to rest and recover, and not fueling your body with the proper nutrients and the amount of food that you should be eating.
What is the proper amount? Do you have any idea?
It's just like it's more so based on your activity level and your like weight and your goals, really. So like me, I don't count my calories anymore.
Yeah.
Like my sophomore year I did. Like during season, I think I would maybe eat like 2,000 to 2,400 calories.
Okay.
But now I've gotten, well, that was like a while ago, but since then, like it was more so like an education thing for me where I was learning what is what and what, like, I guess macros, like what I should be consuming. So now I just have a good sense.
More protein, more.
Yeah. So now I just have a good sense of like what I'm putting into my body and what kind of calories and what kind of macros it is. I don't count it, but I'm like, okay, I need a protein, carb, veggie in this amount in each meal pretty much.
What was the diet like in Iceland? Because I remember you and Charisma were talking about like, we couldn't find a salad. Is that true?
So it wasn't, I guess that it wasn't, I like couldn't find a salad.
You can get veggies, but like salad isn't really a staple in their diet. Like they try to make
it wasn't
here,
like,
or what?
You know, like Core Life or Chipotle, you can easily just go and like make a salad real quick.
Two for one day today, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I had to.
Marissa told me that yesterday. I might do that for dinner.
Sorry. But it wasn't like places like that were in abundance like it is here. Like takeout salad, I guess. I would make salad at home. Like I could get salad and stuff at the grocery store, but it wasn't like fresh. If I go to a restaurant, like there's not going to be a huge salad on the menu.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's funny.
Now, how did your diet change when you were in like Iceland in terms of like, did you find yourself doing the exact same things you were doing when you were a player at UB? Like the same type of diet, same type of.
Yeah, I would say pretty much the same. I definitely ate out more in Iceland because I wanted to try all the restaurants I was surrounded by. I was right downtown.
Like? Is it way different?
Phenomenal. Speaking of food, actually, like the food in Iceland and every other country other than every other continent maybe than other than North America just has so much less preservatives.
More
and
fresh food, more
yes,
real food.
yes, like less chemicals, less preservatives. Everything is way more fresh. So I would eat things in Iceland that I ate in America that made me feel bad. I would eat them in Iceland and be fine. And it's crazy because like if you look at the ingredient list of like the same product, like I don't know, Mountain Dew for example, the ingredient list in America is double the size of the Mountain Dew ingredient list in other countries, which is crazy because it's the same thing.
But part of it is like, you've been to Mexico, right?
Nope.
You've never been to Mexico?
No.
Okay. So in Mexico, there's a thing that's like Mexico Coke. And it tastes so much better because they have like the real like Coke leaves or something like that.
Or Gatorade too.
But those are banned in the United States. So to make up the taste, they have to put a whole bunch more crap in it to get that taste. And that's part of the issue. So
And like Gatorade too, same thing. Ingredient list was half the size on the bottle in Iceland than it is in the States.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It is wild.
Now, the jump from high school to UB compared to the UB to Iceland. I mean, was there a culture shock when you got to Iceland or not really?
I think it was, I wouldn't say it was a culture shock. I think it was a different kind of shock. Like when I went from high school to UB, it was like, here's what you're doing every minute of the day, and here's what you're doing every single day for the next 3 months. When I got to Iceland from UB, it was like, yeah, we have practice every day this week. It wasn't like this, team lunch, team dinner, team everything, all day. It was a little bit more lax, I would say.
It's like you're on your own.
Yeah.
You're seriously on your own.
Yeah.
Wow.
And maybe that was just my club experience. Maybe other clubs in Iceland and I'm sure other countries are different in that way, but...
When I was at the Flash in one of their last years in the NWSL, I wondered. I was like, what do you guys do all day?
Yeah, sit
because
there.
because I would have to coach them at 10 a.m. or whatever, and then I would have sessions starting at 3 all the way till like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you guys do? I'm like, well, we go get coffee. Some of the players had extra jobs.
Yeah.
They would sightsee and stuff. You weren't you, I heard, was it you that told me the story? That you almost ran out of places to like go and sightsee in Iceland?
Yeah, well, that was one of the reasons I didn't want to get a job because I wanted to experience everything that I could and sightsee because the nature in Iceland was absolutely phenomenal. And I'm glad that I did that because I was able to go, like, I made a bucket list in the beginning when I got there and I was able to check everything off. So that was good. And then I was lucky enough to have a lot of people visit me. So I was constantly doing tours.
Your parents came, your boyfriend came.
Yeah. Marissa came.
Oh yeah, Marissa came. I forgot about that.
And then my other best friend from home came. And then my best friend from college came. So I had so many people visit me.
And then you saw the same sites over and over and
over. But I didn't
mind
mind it because a lot of the places that we would go, like we went to this one waterfall and it was like my favorite place to take people because it was so extravagant. It was different every time I went because the weather changed. There could be a rainbow one day. Right. Maybe it was cloudy. Maybe there was some snow or whatever. So it was something different each time, even though it was the same place.
Were you able to see the Northern Lights from Iceland?
Yes.
But you have to go north?
No, I saw them in the city, actually. Like, I walked out of my apartment building, looked up, and, saw them. But that was, I was super lucky to be able to do that because usually they didn't start that early in the year. And so I saw them my second last weekend there. I was just, leaving the next week, so it was really good timing.
Charisma had to travel quite a ways.
Yeah, a lot of times,
to see hers.
Yeah, you have to go outside of the city, but I saw them just outside my apartment, which was right downtown. And then when we noticed that they were there, we took a drive outside of the city and they were brighter. So
how big is Iceland? How long you didn't have a car or did they they provided a car?
Yeah.
Nice. So if you wanted to get how could you just drive the whole thing in?
Yeah, there's a road that just goes around the whole country and it's called Ring Road. That's what a lot of people do when they go visit Iceland, just tourist wise. Right. They just go around the whole country and you could do that depending on how many stops you make, you can do it in 7 to 10 days. But to go to like Reykjavik, where I lived, on one side, on the west side of the country, to go all the way to the east side, I think it was like 13-hour drive.
It's that big? I didn't know it was that big.
Mm-hmm. It's really not that big.
Yeah, but
for a whole country, drive across it in 10 hours.
Why did I think it was like the size of like the big island of Hawaii?
I don't know how big that is.
And then you went out to London from there.
London, yeah, because it's
how long was that flight? An hour? 2 hours?
3-hour flight. It was good. I think it was pretty cheap to get round trip tickets too, so that was nice.
Yeah.
And then my friend and I just went for 3 days.
Ella Rudney is in Iceland right now.
Oh, she is?
Yeah, with Nebraska.
Oh, really?
And I'm just like following her thing. I'm like, oh, I remember seeing that. Marcy.
Oh, I didn't even know that they were doing that.
Yeah.
Like just for spring trip or something?
I
Are they
guess,
playing against anybody?
I think they're playing against some teams.
Who are they playing?
I don't know. I don't have my phone here. Where is my phone?
I'll ask Ella next week when she comes back. She comes back.
Yeah, she comes back June 1st, I think.
Okay.
And then she's leaving the first week of July.
Yeah, I think she'll be with us
a lot.
for like 4
so
games.
you're going to lose Shea Vanderbosch. You're going to
Yeah.
lose Gambino probably. You're going to lose Ella. I wonder.
The UB girls in
Yeah.
end of July.
But you guys are loaded, and without having to rely on the UB girls this year.
Yeah.
You know, like you're not going to lose Tess.
Yeah.
You're not well, you lost Emily, but you're losing Emily Lazenby, right?
Yeah.
When does Peyton go to Kentucky? Do you know?
In July.
So you're going to lose them, but
Yeah.
But at least you have the core.
We
You have
still have a good
Charisma,
core,
Marissa.
Yeah.
Like that's a good starting point.
Yeah. And there's a lot of other veteran players too that will be there for the long run, like Danny Viss, Danny Martinez.
Oh yeah. I always forget about Viss and Martinez. Does it feel like? Are you happy to be back? You know, with like FC Buffalo and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Like last year when I was in Iceland,
How much did you miss it?
Like watching the games on my computer, I was like, I wish I was home playing with them. But also just living in the moment too at the time.
Right.
But yeah, I'm super happy to be back this summer because it's just like so much more fun. And now for me, it's like this is carefree. Like, yes, I care and I'm completely determined.
Committed
like, yes,
and
but it's
all
like
that, but it's
I don't have
not-
to. Yeah, I'm not preparing for a college season again. So it's like I almost feel like I'm playing better now because there's less pressure, I guess, that I put on myself.
Are you talking about you in Iceland, or are you talking about you and UB?
Like me being with FC Buffalo right now.
Right. But comparing it to Iceland or comparing it to UB about pressure on yourself. Did you put a lot of pressure on yourself in Iceland?
I did.
Because how were you treated when you came over? We're like, oh, we're getting this American stud.
Yeah.
And like, did you feel
So
that?
I felt like there were high expectations for me, especially because I couldn't play the first 4 games because of my work visa.
Which is so ridiculous.
And all I could do was train. And I felt I did very well in training.
Right.
So then when the first game that I played, I'm like, there's very high expectations of me right now, and I better do good. Do well. Sorry.
And you scored in like the second game? Third?
I forget. I think it was.
Was it your first game?
No, I think it was the 3rd or 4th game because my parents were there to see my first goal, which was nice. Yeah, and my boyfriend.
How many did you end up scoring?
4, not a lot. But I also was playing. I wasn't like just playing forward really. I was.
What system did you guys play?
Oh, a lot.
Really?
I found myself on the outside a lot of the times too because it kind of just set me.
I have an opinion.
What?
I have an opinion, but go ahead. Of you.
Well, I was like one of the faster ones on the team. So for me to get the ball, take it to the end line and cross it in, like I got a good amount of assists doing that.
Yeah, you're very good at that. But you're
So I think I had like
killer in front of goal though.
I know.
Remember
But I think I had like 8 assists.
I remember we like did a drill in here, and it was the one where like you bounce it off the wall and then you go and one time finish it. Then FC Buffalo, maybe the spring season of COVID or your senior year, You had like three goals the exact same way. I'm like, you
Yeah.
need to be in the middle of the field.
I know.
I mean, I know yes, you're very fast and you're great at crossing the ball, but you're a killer in front of goal.
I prefer to be in the middle of the field as well.
Especially with you and like Charisma.
Yeah.
If you guys can play together, I don't understand Charisma in the middle by herself, and then the next person is like 15 yards away.
I'm really glad we're doing 2 forwards because especially Chris and I work really well together in a 2 forward situation. That's what we played together in college, so we kind of have that background with each other too. So I feel like that's solid.
When you guys were in here on Friday, I was talking to Lou, and I was so badly wanted to like tape the video of like the drill you guys were doing where it was a combo.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, and then she assists you on the goal on Saturday. I'm like, man, that would have been a great video to do my little like thing that.
Yeah, when we were in here, I was like, what can I work on right now to prepare myself for the game? Because I knew it was going to be kind of slick and rainy. So we just kind of set that up because we don't play with the 10 in our formation. We have 2 central midfielders. So with the 2 forwards, like one's dropping, checking in to get the ball. And that's, I don't feel, one of my strong suits. So I was like, I need to work on receiving the ball, having a good first touch, and then finding a pass quick. Mm-hmm. And then it ended up being good that we worked on that because that happened in the game the next day. So
hat trick.
Yeah.
And your corner kick.
Got lucky.
Your corner kick. Yeah. That's the only video. That's the only one that was on video.
I know.
Because the stream didn't work.
Yeah, I tried looking after the game too, and it just wasn't on there.
There was no stream.
Yeah, it was sad.
It sucked.
Because my third goal was a great combination between Chris and I, like phenomenal combination, little give and go, spin in the box. So it was good.
And nobody will ever see it.
Yeah.
How was the crowd? The weather was terrible.
It was bad.
The weather was
I think
terrible.
there were maybe like 50, 40 people there, I would say. Parents.
The weather was terrible.
My parents weren't there. They were in Vegas, so they were busy. But there were I think maybe there were like 4 people from FC Buffalo had parents there. Maybe more. Not that many though.
I mean, home opener is this weekend.
Yeah, I'm super excited. So
it should be good.
Wait, when are you gonna put this on?
Maybe before.
Okay.
I'm gonna try. Maybe I try to do it on
Friday. If you put it on after, here's my score prediction.
Ooh.
4-0.
You're going to predict 4-0 against Steel City or whatever it's called.
That's what I'm gonna predict. But if that's not the score, cut this part out.
I'm not cutting anything. I'm not cutting anything. Hey, you don't care what people think, remember?
Yeah, you're right.
That's funny. 4-0. How many are you going to have?
1.
Who's going to score? Let's get Marissa on the scoreboard.
And Charisma's going to have 2.
Yeah.
That's my prediction.
It's crazy how it worked out. Because I was following along whoever was tweeting. It was like, oh, Charisma with the goal. Then Marissa assist to Marcy.
Yeah.
And then Marcy again. Marcy hat trick. And then it's like, it's not a bad thing. It's good.
It was 2-0 at half, and we had so many opportunities in front of the net in the first half that we just didn't put away. We should have. And then in the second half, we scored the 4 more goals. So, yeah.
It was 2-0 at halftime?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had Sarah Woods in here the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Did I tell you that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a great player.
I don't know why I haven't trained her in the past. Her dad is always I usually get our apparel through her, her dad's company that he works for Bison logo or whatever, but I don't know why it's but she lives out in Lewiston, I think. So
she works so hard. She's great.
Yeah, she starts for you guys for FC Buffalo.
Yeah. So
you played a bunch of different formations in Iceland?
Yeah.
Was it judged on your opponent, or was it this is our system?
I think we also had I had 2 different head coaches. So that was a change.
Because Chris came back, right?
Yes. So our formation changed then. And then sometimes we would do a different formation. I think after Chris had been back for a little bit, we changed our formation because he had just a more attacking mindset, I would say, or a more creative possession mindset. So we changed our formation to accommodate that. So that was good.
What did he change it to?
It was a 4-3-3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Carissima was talking about her coach in Norway about just how defensive he is, and
Yeah.
he's one of the topics in almost every session was like defensive team shape and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
like, or build out of the back. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, we need to score goals if we want to stay up.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish we did have that cutthroat. Like, dude, we need to score goals. We need to win games to be able to stay up in the league.
Yeah, and I think, like, from my experience, like, that comes from the players almost. Because at UB, my coaches were more defensive there. But luckily, we had great players with that scoring mindset. So, not that we never, like, worked on anything attacking, but both of my coaches played defense, so
Right.
obviously. And that's not a bad thing. Like, you obviously need to be organized defensively, because if you get broken down so often, then you're going to get scored on more so than you can score. So
I don't understand what happened to me. Like, I think it was because when I started coaching, I was a goalkeeper. And so you think that goalkeepers are really defensive minded.
Yeah.
But one of my very first mentors was a phenomenal technical developer and like possession based and like let's go to goal and let's have fun and let's attack. And that really kind of changed me. It's like, okay, that is where my philosophy comes from, because I want the ball.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to give up goals. Why are you letting a shot happen to me? Why can't we just keep the ball?
Yeah.
And the easiest way to defend, just keep the ball.
Mhm.
Don't let them.
Exactly.
I don't know.
So when I was BSA, when I was younger and had Henrik, that's what we would do every practice. We'd have the goalie. We'd have like basically a half field scrimmage, like defense versus offense. Goalie would punt the ball out. Whoever won it, and then we would try and
Go
score
to goal.
for an hour. And that would be our practice. So we scored so many goals when we were that age.
Yeah.
So, just different coaches, different things.
How was PGA?
Oh, it was fun. Great
You
weather.
went Sunday. Were you with Marissa?
Yep.
Because I texted her. I was like, "Where are you guys at?"
Did you go at all?
No,
Oh.
I didn't. I was gonna go to the practice round, but then I've had car issues over the last
Oh, yeah. Your
2.5
transmission.
weeks. Well, I get my transmission fixed. It was $775, but no,
I was going to
$7,775.
say.
Yeah. Anytime you buy a car, get the third-party warranty, because I had to pay $100. But then I get the car back from transmission, water pump, and thermostat. Then my suspension goes out,
Really?
and that was also covered.
Oh, that's good.
But I didn't have a car, so I rented a
Yeah.
car to get home for Mother's Day, and I didn't come back till Wednesday, and it was a mess. But so I wanted to go. So you guys were on 13 when the hole-in-one happened.
No.
Where were
Wait.
you when the hole-in-one happened?
Yeah, when the
On
hole in one
Sunday.
happened, we were on 13.
Right, because I texted Marissa
Yeah.
right before that happened. I'm like, where
Yeah.
are you guys? Where are you? Or are you guys following players, or did you guys just camp up at 13, or we're at a hole?
Yeah, we more so camped up at each hole and then just like kind of kept track of who was coming.
How loud was the cheer? Were you like,
We heard it.
Oh my God, somebody just hit a hole in
Yeah,
one?
we heard it. It was crazy.
God.
But like even the cheering on 13, it was such a cool hole to kind of post up at because it's like a bowl
Yeah,
pretty much. So there was a lot of people there and it was fun.
yeah. When Marissa went on Wednesday, she talked about free food,
Yeah.
free drinks and everything, but you had to pay for like alcohol.
Yeah.
Is that how it was on Sunday too?
Yeah. Like it was just like concessions. You just walked up and took what you want. There was like a hot dog line, an Italian sausage line, burger, chicken sandwich line. And then there was like chips and snacks and stuff. And then a whole like wall of fridges. You could just get water, pop, Gatorade.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
and
how the
then
Masters is too.
yeah.
But the Masters, this is the biggest difference. No phones, no cameras. On
really?
every single like hole, you see everybody.
Yeah, that's what I was
holding
doing.
Yeah, and I guess at the Masters they take your phones, or you're not allowed to like have phones at all,
Wow.
or you get.
That's
kicked
where
out.
like what's the waste management thing? Is that its
Waste
own?
Management Open.
Is that its own tournament?
That's the one that's in Arizona, right?
I think so, because they have that really fun hole.
Yeah, the par
That everybody
three
is,
with,
like, crazy
everybody's
at.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Waste Management Open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you have your phone there? I hope so.
I think so.
That
They
would be
don't care.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. We did an hour.
That was an hour? Oh yeah, 2:30.
But then like 15 minutes of it is just you. So
Yeah.
I haven't been putting them on like the podcast, like, like Apple Podcasts or anything. I've only been doing YouTube. This one I might start doing that again. Because like Charisma doesn't want to like watch an hour-long video. She'll just like drive and listen to it and stuff. So
Yeah.
I might start doing that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's easier to listen to podcasts, like if you have a long drive.
Yeah.
That's when I listen to podcasts on my way here, because I drive 40 minutes now.
Where do you guys live? South Buffalo?
Yeah. I'm like 10 minutes from the
But Orchard
football
Park.
Yeah.
Like close to, okay.
Like
Orchard
10
Park.
minutes down the street from the stadium in Orchard Park.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I like shocked you and like.
Yeah, I think that was my bad.
Who cares? Oh well. I need to get Marissa in here. I want to get Charisma in here. And then I was thinking, it's like, wait a minute. I'm going to have to get more cameras and more mics. And I want to get back into the office. My office is a mess right now.
Oh, God.
It's bad. Just because, I started a golf ball business.
What?
Oh, yeah. I have like 1,500 golf balls in there.
Like collecting?
No, I'm selling them on like eBay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I have to go.
Pro V1s?
Everything.
You
Seriously.
have Pro V1?
Yeah. I've got everything.
Okay.
I've got my nephew and I are kind of like starting a business together. They live on a golf course back home, and my parents live on a golf course. So there's like, you just take a black light flashlight when it's like dark out,
Go get
and
them.
those like shine. Wow. Oh yeah.
Wow. That's
last time I was
genius.
home, we found like 500 golf balls
No way.
in just 2 searches.
You go around here?
I have, but I don't like going and parking because I feel like I'm gonna get arrested or something. I feel like I'm trespassing. But yeah,
Just go play around.
But eventually, yeah. I'll go with you guys. You and Marissa.
Yeah, we're good.
How did you guys do? Well, you guys were Beaver.
Yeah, we didn't keep score.
Yeah, I have a golf trip.
I got a bogey once though.
There you go. I have a golf trip next week. Actually, that's why I kind of want to hammer out some of these chats because I'm going to be gone all of next week. Pretty much.
Are you like promoting our home opener at all? Because I want a lot of people to be there.
Isn't that FC Buffalo's job?
They're telling us promote it.
Why don't they promote it?
They are trying.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll promote it. Actually, I should probably send out an email saying something.
I should have just told Izzy to come.
She'll probably be there anyway.
Yeah.
She usually comes.
Perfect.
You know Izzy?
Yeah, just from Matt's stuff.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for talking.
Absolutely. I can't believe that stupid camera.
It was just not recording at all?
I forgot to push a button, I guess, because I was talking about how hard it is to edit. And then...
Oh.